Centre 360, Theuns Dreyer. Explain a little bit about Centre 360. I know it's the pivotal and the crop spraying around. Explain to us, because the average person doesn't really understand it.
No, well, it's the best way of, in a mechanical way, mechanized way, irrigating large areas of agriculture crops. It's automated. You can connect that to a computer, and it can, I mean, if you do 1,000 hectares to 3,000 hectares under irrigation, it becomes a problem if you have to do everything with manual labor.
I can understand that, but then I look at the water situation. In certain parts of South Africa, it's a huge problem. How do you cope with that, and what has today's modern technology done that uses a maximum or optimum amount of water?
There's enormous growth in information and product development in that. The basic center pivot's been the same for 50 years, close to, but the ingenuity has come through sprinklers, new technology sprinklers with exact droplet sizes. It can be manipulated to have little water losses because of evaporation by manipulating a little bit larger droplet size. And then there's soil moisture probes these days that you can monitor the depth of the water up to a meter level on every 100 millimeters. In the past, people just switched on the water and they wet the soil. Now we irrigate.
Cost effectiveness to a farmer?
Very much so, because of the fact that you put the water down at about a 97% distribution efficiency. The fact that it's very low evaporation, we have just about the same efficiencies as with drip systems. It does make a difference, yeah.
Your machinery or equipment survives on an ESCOM power feed.
Correct.
Now what happens if you haven't got a power feed? So it goes down?
It goes down, yes.
Yeah.
To compensate for that, we do over-design a little in terms of having a larger available capacity than is actually needed for a certain area. So we've got about 20% over-design, but that does not mean you irrigate 20% over. You irrigate what you need. It's just that you've got a longer period of time to be able to irrigate.
Can you not work that equipment from a solar panel unit?
It's possible. We've recently, with one of the biggest solar companies in the world, done quite an interesting exercise. And the viability of that is about the lifetime of the solar panel. So at this stage, not yet. For bigger projects, government projects, it does make still a lot of sense. But if you have to look in an agriculture sense, it's not yet there.
And a wind turbine?
Wind turbine could probably do it. If we're in a windy area, it's a matter of cost. Can you warrant that expense in terms of what you can grow and harvest and paid for your product in agriculture?
Thereby leads us into the next part of my question I'm going to put you. Can you afford to? And now let's look at a black aspirant farmer. Can't afford it.
I want to differ with you. There's quite a lot of the upcoming farmers that actually use our equipment. Some of them just smaller 1 hectare units. There's a system in Theuns, actually in South Africa, with 55 40 hectare center pivots. They use in quarters. In other words, every user have about 10 hectares to produce. And there's a maintenance system on that center pivots. It's run actually on a very high standard, and just to show that it's viable.
Let me into a secret, if you will. You're probably not going to, but we'll try anyway. What's the future? What can we expect in that pivotal irrigation system in the future?
I don't think the product in itself, in terms of mechanical improvements, is going to be vastly changing. Even the sprinklers in that process is fairly well developed. Where the major change will come will be in controlling systems, monitoring systems, and management systems. So it's becoming an electronic game.
I'm going to ask you now, on behalf of the farmer that hasn't got your system, but he's watching this or he's reading an article on it, and he says, I'd like to have that system. What does he do?
Would contact a company like ours. We would get the necessary information, probably visit him on the farm, survey, do what's needed, and look at the complete picture, the development picture.